Hello everyone and welcome to On Screen with Dee Harris. Today I sit down with 6th degree black belt Master James Marr, owner and operator of Master Marr's Taekwondo right here in Shaker Heights, Ohio. Welcome to On Screen with Dee Harris. I'm here with 6th degree black belt, Master James Marr. Thanks for sitting down with me today.
No problem.
How's it going?
Great. How about you?
Oh, pretty good. You know, Cleveland weather's, you know.
Yeah.
Cleveland weather, you know.
Could be worse.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it. Now, for those who aren't quite familiar with the martial art of Taekwondo, or TKD as we call it, can you explain what differentiates it from other martial arts such as karate, and explain a little bit of the history of it?
Okay. Well, just starting with the history, martial arts as we know it can really only be traced back to about 1200. China and Korea kind of founded different martial arts at the same time. We're all around that period, 1200, 1300. The Korean martial art that was founded at that time is called Taekwondo. And then it traveled, you know, it moved up and moved forward. And Taekwondo has only been around since actually 1955.
Wow.
It was named on April 11th, 1955 by General Choi Hung-hee, who was a general in the Korean Army. And he and several other masters of actually 9 different Korean martial arts got together and kind of took everything that was good about each one and created a new martial art. They wanted a Korean national martial art, and he gave it the name of Taekwondo.
Okay, so you mentioned that original Korean martial art at the very beginning. Now, what did Taekwondo take from that and integrate into?
I don't know. I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I don't know anything about Taekwondo except that it was, you know, the original. It was on the Korean Peninsula as far back as 1300, 1200. So, you know, it's very different now. Everything is very different now. And one of the things that actually makes Taekwondo different than other martial arts, aside the fact that it's Korean and karate is Japanese, Kung Fu is Chinese, is that Taekwondo practitioners try to use science, physics, to help us move with more power. We use an up and down motion, just to kind of use potential energy and kinetic energy. We transfer our body weight into our kicks and punches, therefore creating more force. There are 2 schools of martial arts, going back to what makes Taekwondo different. There are grappling arts, Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo. Then there are striking arts, karate, Kung Fu, and Taekwondo, striking arts.
Well, now tell us a little bit about your history, you know, how you began on your martial arts journey.
When I was a kid, I used to watch a show called Wide World of Sports.
I vaguely remember that.
No, you're way too young for that. But
it was on ABC like in the early 90s or something like that.
And long before that. But they used to do, every once in a while, they would do a martial arts demonstration. And it would be some guy breaking a bunch of stuff, or laying on a bed of nails, or standing on samurai swords, or, you know, things like that. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But I grew up in the middle of Nebraska, and there were no schools for things like that. So, you know, when I got to college, I found a couple of guys who did some Taekwondo, and, you know, they're really good guys. They're not, you know, outstanding practitioners, but they're pretty good guys, so I trained with them for a little while, a couple of months. And then I kind of left it alone until March 9, 1993, and I walked into Grandmaster Kim's school for the first time and met him, and I've been with him ever since. So, is it 93? Yeah, 93, so we're going on 23 years now. And he's been my teacher. His teacher was General Choi, who named Taekwondo. So I have pretty good lineage that I have to try to live up to. So we teach traditional, original martial arts, traditional, original Taekwondo like it was meant to be taught. So, and we started teaching full-time. I started teaching for Master Kim when I got my black belt in '95. And then I opened my own school in 2002.
And where was that?
That's in Glenridge, New Jersey. In 2006, we moved to Montclair, New Jersey, which is not far from New York City.
Okay.
And it's still there. It's still going. A friend of mine is taking care of it for me. He's doing a great job. His name is Master John Meany.
Okay.
He's doing a great job taking care of that school. We moved our family here in 2013 here to Cleveland, Shaker Heights, because we wanted to be closer to extended family. So we did that. We opened a school here in 2014. Growing, doing good. We're trying to work hard, and hopefully everything will work out for the best. So.
Now, between both of the schools you have, about how many students do you have total?
Well, the school in New Jersey has over 350 students. Here we're still growing. We're at 73, 74 now, so we're growing. It'll take a couple more years before we get up to, reach our goals. But we'll get there. Like I said, we'll do good work, and we'll try hard, and try to be a good person, and things come back to you, right?
This is the Cleveland area.
Yeah.
There aren't too many martial arts facilities around, especially like Taekwondo. What made you want to implement a Taekwondo facility in this community here in Shaker Heights?
There's a lot of good things that come from training Taekwondo. You can learn, not only kicking and punching and self-defense, but you can also learn self-discipline. You gain self-confidence. Your balance is better, both physically and emotionally, just from the training of Taekwondo. So, we can do a lot to help the community. I love teaching children. When we teach the kids, and I see the click when it dings in their head, and that's really gratifying. The kids that are coming now on a regular basis are coming in with big smiles on their face. They're really happy to be here. They're all working really hard, so it's really gratifying for me.
What do you look for to bring out of your students?
In a typical class, for the juniors or the adults, all the classes have a similar structure. We start with stretching, because that's very important, obviously. We'll spend a few minutes stretching and warming our bodies up. And then we'll do our basics, which are, the basic fundamentals of Taekwondo, and the whole class does that together, from first day white belt through black belts. Everybody works on their fundamentals. We're trying to build a really strong foundation, something we can build on top of. And then when we get to the fancy kicks that, you show off with, you'll be able to do them because you have this really strong foundation. So we'll spend, the next 15 or 20 minutes doing our basics. In a typical class, we're going to do 200 kicks, a bunch of punches, bunch of blocks. It's really physical. It's very aerobic. And then we'll break the class apart, and we'll work on different things, with each individual or with small groups to make sure that every student gets what they need for that particular day. So what I'm expecting the students to do is to come in and work hard, and that's what I look for when I'm interviewing new students. If it's somebody who's going to put forth the effort, then that's great, because that's the beauty of Taekwondo, really, is it's designed to be easy. It's designed that anybody can do it if you're willing to do the work.
Now, as far as the kicks and the punches, what does that entail?
A lot of Taekwondo facilities, a lot of Taekwondo teachers only teach kicking. And I think that's a mistake. I think they've left two of their weapons in the bag. You have two legs, you have two hands, you should use them all. This is going back to I think this is a problem that has stemmed from when Taekwondo got into the Olympics, is that Olympic fighters tend to not punch because they don't think that they can score. They don't feel like they can punch hard enough to jar the body of their opponent, which is what's going to score them a point. So they just leave their hands down. And that works for them because they're athletes. They're Olympic caliber athletes. They're wicked fast, and they can do that. For those of us who are normal people, I got to use everything I got. You know what I mean? So, I try to teach a balance of kicking and punching. And, then you have everything you need. We have blocks and when we get into sparring classes, we learn that blocks are really for when you've made a mistake, for when you're too late. Because we always say if you have time to block, you have time to hit. So blocking is not my first priority. I'll do it, but only if I've missed, or if my timing is off, or if they do something that surprises me, then I'll use my blocks. But most of the time, if I see them moving, if I see them coming, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to counter right away.
As a Taekwondo practitioner's, skills begin to develop, there are many goals they can reach for, and one of them, of course, is the belts. Now, can you explain the Taekwondo belt system and
Sure.
what each rank means?
Because there is not a lot of regulation, a lot of Taekwondo schools use different belt systems, and a lot of them have a lot of belts. We use the system that was set aside by General Choi. White belt, which means clean slate, right? Yellow belt, is like the dirt. That's, you're just kind of getting stuff in there. And then you go to green belt. Obviously things are starting to grow now. And then you got blue belt, which signifies that the sky's the limit. And then there's a red belt, which means, red means danger. Because now all of a sudden you're a red belt, you've got some tools now. And when we were black belts, we used to joke that the red belts really were dangerous because they have a lot of tools, but they haven't quite mastered the control part about it yet. So, and then when you're black belt, that's all that put together. And Taekwondo, so we have 12 ranks before you get to your black belt. And then in Taekwondo, in traditional Taekwondo, you have 9 levels of black belt. So once you get your black belt, then you have, for an adult now, because kids we hold back a little bit. We make them take a little bit longer because they have a little more to learn. But anyway, for an adult, a second degree black belt would be 2 to 3 years beyond their first degree black belt. So obviously that means that your second degree, the difference between a second degree black belt and a black belt is about the same as the difference between a black belt and a white belt.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and then third degree black belt, I always say the difference between a third degree black belt and a second degree black belt is about the same as the difference between a second degree black belt and a white belt. And so on and so forth. So as you're climbing up the ladder, you should be improving exponentially. And you get to certain ranks and there are just not a lot of guys who can do that. So, we'll have 1,000 students here before we have 100 black belts. So, and it drops off pretty fast.
Oh man.
So,
well,
the ones that break your heart are the ones that get their black belt and go, okay, check.
Yeah,
and then
they
you never
think
see them
that's the
again
end.
because that's not the end. That's the beginning. That's when I really get to start teaching. Because now you've got the tools. Now we've brought all our tools together. We've gotten our lumber, we got our shingles, we got our foundation. Now we get to start building when you get your black belt. So that's the beginning. So the ones who think that that's the end, that just breaks your heart.
Now, I wanted to ask you, I want to get your opinion on this. Like, mixed martial arts is a real popular thing right now. And it does have some appeal to kids who are wanting to get into martial arts of some sort. What is your opinion on MMA and the appeal it has to the youth and how they think about martial arts?
I'm not a big fan of MMA. I don't see the art, I don't see the beauty. What I see is brutality. What I see is bleeding for money. And I understand the appeal and people like that, but I'm not a big fan. I don't think that that's the way to go, and I think it's completely inappropriate to teach to children. It's all about fighting. It's all about inflicting punishment. And that's not appropriate to teach at children. That's not what we do here. I'm not a big fan. The guys in MMA, they're just fighting. Don't get me wrong. There's some really great athletes in the MMA, and there's some good martial arts practitioners. But unfortunately, most of them are just, brutal. And if you're willing to, take a beating for money, go for it.
Mm. Well,
and I'm not trying to be disrespectful of anyone, but some of those guys haven't earned my respect. So sorry.
Well, before we get out of here, last question I want to ask you tonight is, as far as Taekwondo goes, what can a committed practitioner take from Taekwondo as far as physically, mentally, and the life lessons that come along with the training?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I was saying earlier, just from the training without, just by showing up, you're already showing improved self-discipline. And once you have self-discipline, you can really accomplish anything. Guys who come in here are going to work hard when they're here every single time, and that translates to the rest of your life. You find out that if you work hard, you get results. And that's always true. That. And if you don't work hard, you don't get results. So those are the kinds of lessons that I'm trying to teach. And a good practitioner is going to be better balanced, on his feet. He's going to have better balance in his life. A good practitioner is going to be more agile. And the kids who come in, they want to play other sports, right? I have basketball players, so I'm teaching them footwork. I'm teaching them balance. I'm teaching them timing. All of that stuff is going to translate into basketball like that. It works really, really well, actually, and I've seen it happen a dozen times. Soccer, basketball, football, whatever other sport they want to play, Taekwondo is going to improve that, because of the basics and the fundamentals that we teach. And it's not just physical, the mental approach to Taekwondo, it's very regimented. So you learn how to set really small goals. In our system we have tips that you get every 4 or 5 classes. And then you have the belt, which you get every 2 or 3 months. So you can have a little really mini goal, which is 5 classes away. You can have another goal, which is 2 or 3 months away. And then you have your black belt, which is 3 years for an adult, 4 years for a kid. And then after that, it doesn't stop. I'm a 6th-degree black belt now. Someday I'll be 7th, if Grandmaster Kim decides that's a good idea. And if that happens for me, great. If not, I've done everything I wanted to do in Taekwondo, and I'm a fairly accomplished teacher and a practitioner. But I've worked really hard for 23 years, so I don't feel like I'm bragging too much to say that. So.
Well, I appreciate your time, man.
Not at all.
All right, that was this edition of On Stream with Dee Harris. Now, if you want to know more about Master Marr's Taekwondo, be sure to check out MarrTKD.com, as well as the link to their Facebook here in this corner and the number at the bottom of the screen. This has been Dee Harris. Thanks for watching.